information you need to start your morning. This is TMJ4 News Today.
Good morning. It is 4:30 on your Wednesday morning. You're watching TMJ4 News Today. I'm Ryan Jenkins. Thanks for being with us this morning. You may have heard a few rumbles of thunder overnight, and the rain, it's still coming down early this morning. So let's get right over to meteorologist Michael Fish, keeping an eye on conditions early this morning. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Ryan. It was pouring for a lot of us here early in the morning. Got out of my car and the suit was all wet. It will get better today. So look at Milwaukee right now. It looks pretty damp. All right, 40 degrees though. It's really not that cold. Still a little breezy, though the wind is actually going to die down a little bit today. You noticed yesterday, of course, it was quite blustery out there. That's all because of this low pressure system. You can kind of see it swirling in the atmosphere a little bit, slowly lifting its way to the north. Look at like central Wisconsin. Yeah, central Wisconsin, it's snowing right now. That's not here though. All right, this is just rain. Seeing some pretty good downpours just moving out over Fond du Lac, over Lake Winnebago right now, going up into Sheboygan currently. A quick little downpour here over pretty much like Waukesha, right along I-94. But notice on the back side of this, as you head towards like Lake Geneva, there's actually quite a lull that's going to be headed our way. So it is not going to be a washout. Actually, the steadiest of rain is here early this morning. Here's future forecast. Watch everything lifting its way to the north. And actually, as we head through part of the morning, anything that would be out there would be kind of light, kind of scattered. And then as the afternoon progresses, could see another couple of these scattered showers starting to wind back up, maybe even a rumble of thunder possible that into tonight as well. Currently, some of the temperatures just not showing up on the map yet. It's 45 Burlington, 40 in Fond du Lac with winds. Now they're coming off the lake. They're not as strong as yesterday. Your forecast has some breaks in these scattered showers. A couple more in the afternoon. Brian, I'm going to let you know when the colder air starts to move in coming up.
All right, sounds good, Michael. We'll check in soon. Thank you. We are turning now to Waukesha's attempt at preventing another parade tragedy. Months after 6 people were killed and dozens were hurt in the Christmas parade tragedy. Waukesha city leaders are now looking to buy new high-tech barricades to block vehicles during big events. Uba Ali shows us how they would work.
6 people died and more than 60 people were injured in the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy. Now city officials are hoping to purchase barricades with a price tag in the 6 figures to ensure safety.
After the parade, we recognized that we needed to do things to increase the level of security to make people feel safe.
4 months ago, the unthinkable happened when Daryl Brooks drove his SUV through the parade route. Waukesha City Administrator Kevin Lehner says there were barricades in place at the time.
We had barricades in vehicles that were in place at the time. And unfortunately, the individual went around vehicles.
To ensure that never happens again, the city is enhancing safety by purchasing mobile vehicle barrier or MVB systems from Advanced Security Technologies for a whopping $800,000. The money would come from American Rescue Plan Act dollars and would ensure no vehicles breach parade routes.
That would secure the majority of our typical parade route in Waukesha.
Lehner says the MVB deploys relatively quickly and does not require a ton of man hours and can be removed if emergency vehicles need to get through.
It's not like a cement barrier or a large vehicle that is going to take a lot to move.
So how does it work?
If something hits it, it basically disables the vehicle. It pops it up, it digs something into the asphalt, and the vehicle is immobile.
Lehner believes this added security measure will restore hope in residents.
We want to make sure people feel safe when they're attending events in the city.
The Waukesha Finance Committee did pass the motion and now heads to the full council for approval on April 7th. In Waukesha, Uba Ali, TMJ4 News.
Uba, thank you. And if approved, city officials hope to have the barriers in place for the upcoming Memorial Day parade. Now to a teenager from Ukraine finding safety in southeast Wisconsin. The 14-year-old refugee just started school in Kenosha. After Russia invaded, he lived in an underground shelter for 2 weeks. Then he made a 5,000-mile journey to live with his godmother. Stephanie Haynes shares his amazing story.
14-year-old Arseny Halabov is wearing the last thing he grabbed before escaping his home in Ukraine.
Are these the clothes you from Ukraine? Or
Yes.
These are the clothes you wore?
Yeah.
And that was all you had?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
This and your papers?
Yes.
Arseny is living in Kenosha with his godmother, Irina Falk. She moved to Kenosha from Ukraine back in 2005.
What has the past few weeks been like?
It was terrible. First days it was very scary.
Arseny grew up in Chernihiv. It's a city not far from Kyiv and under constant attack. He remembers the day it began.
I was at home. My mom get up me at 5 o'clock and said that war has started. Get up and pick up your clothes.
They raced to an underground bunker where they stayed for at least 14 days.
4 meters underground, you could still hear the bombs.
Yeah.
Were you scared?
Yeah.
Then the drive to Warsaw, Poland took 3 days. And the very next day, Arseny was on a flight to the United States alone. His mother and older brother are staying behind to help in Ukraine.
Oh, you hugged your family goodbye and got on the plane?
Yes, it's... Мне было очень обидно там.
Ты была расстроена.
Да.
He says, I was very sad that I have to do it.
Arseny flew into O'Hare Airport in Chicago last Friday, and Monday was his first day at Bradford High School. Irina says she hopes to get Arseny into playing tennis. She says they constantly FaceTime Arseny's mother, and she stresses how brave she is for helping her little boy escape.
She's a hero, definitely. Ukrainian women are strong women.
They all hope they can go back to Ukraine and be together one day. In Kenosha, Stephanie Haynes, TMJ4 News.
What a brave young man, Stephanie. Thank you. Now, President Biden is headed to Europe today to meet with allies about the response to Russia's invasion. It is 4:36. We're turning now to the first public update on the future of Foxconn in Racine County. Taxpayers who hoped to get some answers at a meeting Tuesday night were disappointed when no one from the company showed up. Neighbors shared their frustrations with our Tom Durian.
Basically, what we got was a dog and pony show and a lot of gaslighting.
Residents frustrated with the lack of development and jobs at the Foxconn site in Mount Pleasant came to the first public meeting since 2019, hoping to learn what the future holds.
Once again, we still do not know what Foxconn plans to do.
Kelly Gallagher represents a better Mount Pleasant, a group of homeowners and concerned citizens who believe the Foxconn deal with Wisconsin and Mount Pleasant was a failure.
Foxconn in Mount Pleasant is the largest failed publicly funded economic development in U.S. history.
At the informational meeting, slides were shown depicting what has happened at the site over the past few years. But as for what Foxconn plans to do next, those questions couldn't be answered.
Why did Foxconn representatives not show up to this valuable meeting?
I have no idea why they declined. I expressed it in both written and oral communications with the company.
Originally, Foxconn was to create 13,000 jobs and make a $10 billion investment in Racine County. For it, they would get nearly $3 billion in tax subsidies. A renegotiated deal with the state brings those numbers to 1,450 jobs, a $672 million investment by Foxconn, and $80 million in tax breaks from the state.
The place now looks blighted. We have underutilized buildings, piles of dirt, and electric poles littered throughout.
Kim Mahoney and her husband now live on the corner of Foxconn's original development and want answers.
They haven't told us anything that they've done since 2020 except for hope that something else comes in here.
While the state has already renegotiated its deal with Foxconn, a lot of people we talk to are concerned about the village of Mount Pleasant and it being on the hook for the hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure improvements already done. Reporting in Racine County, Tom Durian, TMJ4 News.
Tom, thank you. Let's take a look back now at how we got to this point. In July of 2017, then President Trump made the announcement that Foxconn would build a massive plant in southeast Wisconsin. About a year later, ground was broken on the site there in Mount Pleasant. But in the months that followed, Foxconn drastically scaled back its planned $10 billion factory. And last April, the company signed that revised contract with the state, slashing the number of proposed jobs from 13,000 to less than 1,500.
Would you say that Foxconn overpromised?
I think we can use Thomas Edison as example. Thomas Edison tried 100.
As you see there, our Charles Benson recently interviewed a key player in the Foxconn project. Former executive Alan Young worked behind the scenes on the deal and recently wrote a book about it. You can find that interview at TMJ4.com. Just search Foxconn. Well, thank you for waking up early with us here on TMJ4 News today. As we head to break, we're taking a live look outside. You'll find out when the rain finally moves out and when the sun returns, coming up in your Storm Team forecast.